Close the door, close the door, close the door. Close the door.
Тарелки.
Okay, it's gonna be recorded. I'll send you. It's gonna be live actually. It's going on YouTube live. Perfect. Rabbi, thank you for the emails, by the way. I get them. Close that door.
Anybody sitting here? This one? Or we are sitting here? No? Where are you sitting here? Why were you sitting here?
Yes.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado,
Okay? We started.
Shofar. It's music. Before the lecture, they want us to wake up. I don't know. I have no clue. I don't know what they're having. Yeah? Because of the Torah, I understand. He got as a rabbi. Don't let anybody out.
Легче. Следующие 6 недель будет завтра, просто лекция.
Excuse me, this is live on Facebook, so people know this is live on Facebook. Okay. Exactly.
I would like to thank Rabbi Vaknin for inviting me down to share Divrei CHIZZUK, Divrei Torah with everyone here. The second I see his name on my phone, I know it's for something good, Baruch Hashem. It's either a zchut to come and speak, or to do something in Kedusha. Baruch Hashem. Hashem should give him a lot of koach to continue
Amen. Amen.
leading us, and Bezat Hashem giving us Divrei CHIZZUK and teaching us the right way to have good midot. And Bezat Hashem, the shiur should be Leilun Nishmat, his father, Michael ben Eliyahu. Baruch Hashem Tenachem Magan Eden.
Amen.
And I would like to thank everyone here. It's a big zchut to be able to share Divrei Torah with everyone. The truth is, usually in the past when I came down to speak, it was more of a speech that everyone just listened to. It wasn't so interactive. But today, the topic at hand, it calls for a little bit of interaction from everyone here. There's a few questions that I want to go into, but I need everyone's opinion on how they look at things. So, just to give a little bit of an introduction, there are certain things in Judaism that we know. We know from a very young age, and we're so ingrained with the concepts that we take them as a simple understanding. And we think, that's it. We know how it works. It's simple. It's ABCs. So we never actually delve deep into the ABCs because we think they're so simple. But the truth is, some of the simplest things that we take for granted is something that's just understandable. Everyone knows it. Kids know it. Grown-ups know it. When we delve a little bit deeper into these ABCs, we'll see that they're very different than we thought originally. So the first question I have, and everyone could answer, whoever has an opinion. A newborn baby, okay? The second he comes out of his mother's womb, he's born into this world. Does that baby have any desires? Does that baby have any wants? Any sheifot? What do you guys say?
Hunger. Yes, hungry.
Oh, he wants food, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So he has desires.
Yes.
Everyone agrees. A baby, even the second he comes out, he has some type of desire. Maybe he's cold. He has a desire to be warm. He's hungry. He wants to be held. So we see from here that the second the person is born, the second he comes into this world, he has a desire. He has a sheifa for something. And as that child grows, desires don't leave him. Desires and sheifot, aspirations, wants, they don't leave a human being when they're in this world. When he'll grow a little bit older, he won't just want food or something warm or his parents to hold him. Then he's going to want to play. He wants to enjoy his time, not just to eat. He'll cry for a certain toy. He wants something to play with. He wants to be played with. And as a child grows older, those desires change. But we see that everyone has a desire. Now, the second question I have is, okay, so he has a desire. So what does he do when he wants something and he doesn't have it?
Starts crying.
He starts crying, right? Hashem gave a child, a baby, the opportunity to express himself, to show that something's missing, he's lacking something, and he wants something. So he's able to cry. But the question is, does that child, that newborn baby that wants something and he cries for it, does he have free will? Does he have bechira? Did he choose to cry? We know that everyone has free will, right? We have the choice to make a decision. We have the freedom of choice. So when that child cries, did he choose it? How do we look at that? Did the child have bechira to cry?
No.
He didn't have choice? Why?
He doesn't control himself at this point. He doesn't have a mechanism to know.
He doesn't know better.
To stop him. Yeah.
Okay, so what is it? It's not a choice.
Instinct.
Instinct, right? So there's such a thing as instinct. Hashem created living creatures with instincts. Meaning, at this point of the child's life, he doesn't say, should I cry now? Maybe I'll wait for 10 minutes. Maybe I'll let my parents sleep at night. Maybe I'll be good today and I won't cry so hard. When he feels that urge to eat or whatever he needs, he's cold, something's bothering him and he wants something, he has a desire, instantly, right? Hashem made an instinct within that child to be able to cry. So he didn't choose it, right? Okay. So it comes out that according to what we're saying, little babies don't have choice. They have instinct. And they act upon their instinct. Now, what would we say about animals? Do animals have free choice?
Yeah.
Yeah? An animal, a dog. Does a dog have freedom of choice?
No.
So we know, the Torah says to us, the Sfarim say, that animals don't have a freedom of choice. The only being that has this ma'ala of bechira, this amazing thing of free will, is a human being. But animals don't possess free will. But the question is like this. Let's say a person has a dog, right? He buys a dog. And he has to feed the dog, right? So he doesn't know what food this new dog likes. He goes to the pet store. He tells him, listen, I want the best food you have. So the guy tells him, listen, there's not one type of dog food, right? Today there's many different types. So he tells him, listen, I don't know what my dog likes. Give me all the types you have. So the guy loads him up with 10 different types of the best dog food, okay? He comes home, his dog is hungry, and he puts it in front of his dog, 10 different types of dog food. One is beef, one is chicken, one is bones, all different types of foods, different brands. So doesn't the dog have to choose? Doesn't the dog have to say, wait a second, I have 10 types of food in front of me. I have to make a decision. Which one? Maybe one looks better. Maybe one smells better. I have to choose which food to eat. So does he choose?
Yeah.
In that case, is a dog choosing between the foods?
Yeah.
So he's choosing. So does he have freedom of choice or does he not?
He's choosing based on what's given to him.
Okay, so he has 10 foods that are placed in front of him.
Freedom of choice is.
Huh?
Explain what freedom of choice is. I mean, freedom of choice can be to choose to walk across the street or not walk. But we ask him, he knows what to do.
Okay.
It depends to what extent the freedom of choice is.
Right. So let's try to dissect this. Right? The dog has a bunch of food in front of him. And does he have to make a choice here?
Yeah.
He can't eat all of them. His stomach is not big enough, right? So
He'll smell all of them for sure.
okay, so he'll smell all of them, and then what? Then he has to choose. So which one should I eat, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe he'll eat one and he won't like it, and then he has to choose to stop and go to a different one, right? Or maybe he's going to taste from all 10. We don't know. I don't know what he's going to do, right? So at that given point in time, when the dog has 10 foods in front of him, is he using what we call bechira to choose between the foods? What do you say? Instinct. What does that mean? Explain. Okay, but there's 10 foods in front of him. What? I don't hear you.
Anything. A dog will eat anything,
He'll eat anything.
basically.
Uh-huh.
I think choice would be if he decides not to eat. Meaning,
Choice would be if he decides not.
not to eat.
Okay.
Dog won't eat, you won't eat. Dog is able to eat it, you won't eat it. That means he has a freedom of choice. Choose what you will eat.
So you're saying he has a freedom of choice. So he sits there and he chooses, I don't want to eat this today, I want to eat that today, based on freedom of choice.
Based on 10 options.
I think he's attracted to his nature.
Oh, he's saying that there's a nature. That the animal, for example, certain animals don't like, fruit, right? Not every animal will eat fruit. Some animals, they love fruit, right? So are they choosing to eat fruit or not? When a cow doesn't eat meat, right? Or when an animal that's, a carnivore doesn't eat a certain type of food that its nature isn't to eat, is he choosing not to eat it? That's a choice it made?
No, he just.
It's programmed. There's an instinct, right? Okay.
The owner of the dog. It's not inside a program, there's trained dogs. Dog doesn't listen.
Okay, let's leave that. We'll deal with that maybe later. Trained dogs. But stop a regular dog in Mill Street. I don't know.
Dog is like a baby, not trained.
Oh.
They do whatever they see, they just do it.
Oh. Okay.
They're not trained, they never want.
All right. So we heard a few different answers. Now let's go back to the baby, okay? We said that the baby is born with a desire, right? And then desires don't leave us, right? They just usually get more and more and more. As the baby grows, he also wants food, he also wants to be held, and he also wants to play, right? And as he gets older, he also wants many, many different things. Maybe he wants certain type of clothing that he didn't even know about when he was young. So desires increase as we get older, as we have more doubt, as we understand more in this world. But if we could boil it down, let's boil down the desire of man. What does a person really want in this world? What is the ultimate desire? If we boil it down, okay, some people want food, some people want this, some people want that. But is there a common denominator that be'etzem we could say, man desires X, and everything else is just a way to get X?
Security.
Money. Happiness.
Security.
Security? Happiness?
Purpose.
Hierarchy.
Purpose?
Shelter. Yeah, security.
Huh? Wealth. But if we boil everything down,
Life.
right? Let's say, for example, money, right? Everyone desires money. Some people more, some people less, right? But at the end of the day, is the money the goal, or the money is there just to get something else?
Life. Continue life.
What is the ultimate desire, the base desire of man? So I want to read to you. Huh? Yeah, but that's not the goal.
You could be wealthy.
You want to be wealthy for something, right? When you say to yourself, I want to make money today, right? No, but what is the wealth going to bring to you? You're not just happy. Let's say you have the money in a box, right? And you can't use it. So you have it. So you're wealthy, right? At the end of the day, your wealth in your mind is just a vehicle to get you somewhere else. It's not that that's the goal. You want to, a person thinks, you know what, I want to travel the world. I need money, right? So I got to get money to travel. So the wealth is just there to serve as a purpose for something else, right? So what's the ultimate desire?
Freedom. Man.
Be closer to God.
Okay.
Oh, freedom to do what you want to do. Freedom to have choices.
So I want to read to you a line in the book Alesho. Alesho was written by Rav Shlomo Volbi, who was one of the big Baalei Musar in our past generation. And he says like this. This is in Chelik Aleph in page Kuf Nun Dalet. He says the following. Rabotenu Baalei Musar Matzu. Right? Our teachers, the Baalei Musar, they found Ki kol sheifat Adam, all of man's desires, and he puts the word kol in bold. That means there's one desire that encompasses every other desire. It's the base desire, and everything else we desire is really only a way to get to this desire. What is it? He says, Meyomo Rishon Mamash. And this desire comes to man from the second he's born, from his first day. It's not something that comes later in life. Vehi Lehenot. Pleasure. To enjoy. That's a person's base design. When you think about it, right? When a person goes to a restaurant, right? He wants to have good food. Why? For the food, he wants to have pleasure, right? When a person wants money, he could say, listen, I want to drive a car. Why? What does that do for him? He wants a comfortable car. It's pleasurable. When a person wants to go on vacation, it's for pleasure. Everything a person does is there to fill that goal. There's a million different ways. If you ask a million different people, what is pleasure for you? For some people, to sit in a hot sauna is pleasure. For the other person, it's Gehenom. He doesn't like that. So it doesn't mean that the goal changed. It just means that the way to reach that goal for every person changes. But man has a pleasure. He wants to achieve that goal, and he'll do everything to get it. Right. And that's why when that baby is hungry, right? Now, what he knows what food is. He was just born. He doesn't understand that food keeps him alive. It's just that he feels discomfort. He feels a tzar. He feels pain. His stomach hurts. He's not happy because he's not full. So when he cries for the food, what does he actually want? Nutrition? Does he understand what that is? He doesn't understand anything. He wants pleasure. He wants to feel good. Something is wrong. Something doesn't feel right. And he wants to fill that gap and feel good. So he thinks if I cry, someone's going to take care of that for me. So that's what it is. And as a kid gets older, he wants to have fun. He wants to have pleasure. He doesn't want to sit bored at home all day. He wants to play with toys. And then as he gets older, he wants to have good grades because people will respect him. Or he wants to have a good job because he wants money. Or he wants kavod. He wants respect. He wants to feel like he's someone important. But it all boils down to getting pleasure. And Rabbi explains that we want pleasure, that's our drive, and then we were created with another feeling that we'll do everything to go away from pain. So we desire pleasure, and we run away from tzar, from pain. Now, he said that this is something that's born with a person from the second they come into this world. So, what is it? This drive after pleasure that we said even the baby has, right? Is it something we always choose? Did the baby choose it? We said before that the baby doesn't even know what he's doing. He doesn't have free will. So what is this desire to reach pleasure? How could we explain it? He says it's an instinct. There is an instinct that a person was created with. And that instinct is to run away from pain and to get pleasure. And that's why it's born with us from the second we come into this world. We don't have freedom of choice. We don't have doubt. We don't have understanding. But still, we have this natural base instinct. Okay? Now, let's go back to the dog, right? The dog also has an instinct. What is the instinct of dog? What does a dog want? What does any animal want? Survival, right? But when the dog chooses a food, right? We said if we put 10 types of food in front of the dog, so the dog has to make a big choice. What should I eat? This or that, this or that.
It depends on the dog also. You could have a dog who's in the street, he will eat whatever is in front of it.
100%, right?
Another one you have to give him a menu, maybe.
But when we explained, right? When we explained that there's 10 choices in front of the dog, is he choosing? Or maybe he's just acting on instinct. What does that mean? The dog wants to enjoy his food. He wants to live, but he also wants to eat something that tastes good, right? So now he'll smell something. Automatically, some smells, they don't go with it, right? Some smells will. So when he's driven after this food based on its smell, based on the way it looks, whatever it is he choosing to eat that food that smells good? Or does his instinct say, like that baby, I want something good, and this smells good, so I'm automatically driven to this.
It's a yes or no, not a maybe. Right?
It's not choosing.
Oh.
It's yes or no. It's
He's
binary.
not choosing.
It's just jumping.
The
How
baby...
do you train a dog to not to
Training
Something
just... So he brought up a good point, right? How do you train a dog to do a trick? The answer is, what do you give him in order to do the trick? You give him a treat. So the dog wants pleasure. So he knows when I do X, I get a pleasure. So he does X, not because he's really understanding what he's doing. He's not choosing to do it. You trained his mind to say, whenever I ring the bell, I give you a treat. So you have to come, or whatever it is, right?
But Rabbi, you
Yeah.
could also condition through pain.
Fear.
Yeah, you could condition the
So
dog.
pleasure is that you're not
Exactly.
getting pain.
You can teach him that if he
Smack.
does this, you give him a punch, right? Or a smack.
Yeah.
So he knows not to do it because his instinct says, run away from pain. Let me give you another example. Let's say on Shabbat there's a hot plate, right? And it's very, very hot, and by accident someone touches the hot plate. Does he choose to put his hand, to take his hand away?
No, instinct.
Is that a choice when I take my
No,
hand out of
no,
fire?
no,
It's not a choice, right?
no.
That's an instinct. Before I even could think what to do, my body takes it away. So now, on a lesser level, right, not as extreme, when a person is faced with pain, with suffering, instinctively, his body says, go away from that. When he sees pleasure, his instinct says, go take it. So now, we explain something very interesting. This dog has no freedom of choice. The 10, 100 types of food in front of him, he'll act based on instinct, and he'll pick one based on what his instinct tells him that'll be the best. Now, I have a question. Today, we sat down for breakfast, right? How many types of food were over here? There's croissants, right? There's bagels. There's different types of salads. There's tuna salad. There's Israeli salad. There's lox. There's cheese. There's a lot of different types of food. Did anyone choose what to eat?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Did a person
1000%.
use his bechira to choose the food?
Yes.
Yeah? What did you do?
I didn't eat.
You didn't eat.
I
Okay.
choose not to eat.
Someone who ate.
So,
I chose what I enjoy eating and what's healthy
you
for
pick,
me.
whatever. You make a
Okay.
choice.
That's the decision I made. I'm not gonna have to.
Not instinct, I think. It's
So
whatever
I
you
went
want to
with
eat.
a bagel and tuna and avocado.
Okay.
Everyone chooses different things.
So everyone thinks that when they sat down and they filled up their plate, right? There's a limited amount of space there. You can only take a limited amount of things. Or let's say a person is at a wedding, right? And there's a buffet. There's 10 types of meats, 10 types of rice, millions of types of foods. Does he use bechira to choose what food to eat? It looks like the guy's
it looks
sitting
like,
there,
but
right?
it's
And he's
never-
saying to himself,
It's tava,
should
it's
I
a
eat
desire.
this? Should I eat that? What should I do? Right? So it looks like he's exercising his freedom of choice. The question is that true? So let's think about it, right? We said when the dog chooses the food, is he choosing or he's acting on instinct
Instinct.
based on what will give him the most pleasure? Instinct. Does man have instinct? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we also have freedom of choice, but we do have the same instincts that an animal has. We want pleasure, we run away from pain. So when I'm in front of a buffet of 100 different types of food, 10 types of meats, rice, different types of sushi, whatever it could be, based on what am I going to choose what meat to have? Based on what?
My friend, not
Experience.
instinct. Not
Your
instinct.
desires.
Not
That's not
instinct.
what you want.
Whatever looks good, delicious,
The
whatever.
heart. The heart.
No, whatever you like.
The heart
Let's
is
come
there.
down to this world. You know,
Whatever you want to eat.
oh, what does that mean? Don't give me heart. What does it mean?
What you like?
I see 5 types of meat. Why am I going to choose one?
Whatever your heart desire.
Experience.
Maybe I've had that piece of meat and I like it, right? Maybe there's chicken, there's duck, there's different. I love duck, so I'm going to choose the duck, right? I know that this food, what will it give me?
Pleasure.
The most pleasure, right?
Right.
And I see this food, it doesn't look good. So what is it going to give me? Maybe it's going to give me tzar. I don't know. I never tasted it, but it might, right? And the other type of food looks amazing. Maybe it's going to give me. So when I took my fork and I took that meat and I stayed away from that meat, was that instinct of, okay, I want to get what the most pleasure is, or I want to run away from pain, or was it a bechira?
No, instinct. The brain. Operating the brain.
Oh.
We choose.
You're dancing on 2 weddings
No,
over
it's
here.
not true. No, the heart first and then the brain. The heart's going to decide. Then you say, is that what I like? I'm going to choose this one.
It could be a combination of a lot. It could be a
Maybe
combination.
we're not understanding your question. Based on what are we making the decision what to eat?
And
A
what's
person
that?
is in a wedding, right? And he sees a very large amount, different types of food, right? He has to put something in his plate, right? So based on what is he going to choose this and not that, this and not that?
Based on the caterer. What he likes.
Based on
What
experience.
he likes. What he likes. You put
Sometimes
your-
it could be total instinct. It just draws you in desire.
Ah,
Sometimes
bam.
thinking is involved. You're thinking,
right.
you are calculating, you're saying, I don't want to eat this because other things are coming. So you are making choices. Other things are coming. You're not going to fill your stomach on a salad because you're thinking meat is coming, chicken. So you're thinking. Another person says, I'm sick, I'm not eating at all, even though he wants to jump at the food. There's a lot of things happening.
Okay.
Also, you mentioned, also already
I think it has to do with the
already
heart.
mentioned something good one. You
Desire
know, if it
starts
was
with the
only
heart.
instance of enjoyment, then I would take something that made me Jewish. But he, when you ask him what you choose in breakfast, he said what's healthy for me. Healthy usually is not that tasty. Healthy is the worst one. I mean, I choose something that enjoyment. It was the last one.
Watching, yeah?
And Steve, what's that?
He's watching me. He's like, I scooped out the bagel.
Until the bagel, he scooped it out.
So
I think you go for what you like, what you know what's
Okay.
good for you.
From what's
So
available.
the truth is,
You like hummus, you're going to go for hummus. If you like.
so the truth is like this. It's not black and white because there's a lot of different factors. But I want to talk about if you leave health out, you leave a guy who has diabetes, doesn't eat sugar. You leave regular. It's all equal. It's all as healthy. It's all the same. It's just 5, 10 different types. So when it came to the dog, we said that dog doesn't choose. He has an instinct of what is going to give me the most pleasure. That's what I'm going to go after. Now, human shares that instinct. And he wants to think, wait a second. There's different smells. There's different looks. There's different types. What is going to give me the most pleasure? That's what he's going to get drawn to choose, right? So it comes out that if we just, leave everything out and we just pick those foods, we're not really using bechira. We're also acting based on instinct. Now, where does bechira come in? His example. The person knows that a certain type of food is really good. It tastes amazing, but it's not healthy. So now what does he have to exercise? Does he feel a drive to eat it?
Yes.
He knows it's good. He loves it. Right? Why is it so hard to diet? Why is it so hard to eat healthy? Because our instinct tells us, eat. It's good. Pleasure. But your brain has to come and say, stop. You're going to choose not to eat it. You're going to choose to say no. So if you just ate it, were you using bechira or instinct?
At the end of the day, you
Instinct.
head.
If you just ate it.
No, that's instinct.
You jump
Instinct.
like an animal. You jump like an animal.
That's what they say. You're
Good,
they say you're an
Go
animal
look at
because
what-
You
go
like,
see
you
what's
don't,
going
you
on
like,
there,
you
right?
don't like, you're just eating.
That's why they say
So
you're
it
a
comes
glutton.
out that if I just eat without thinking or without making a decision, there's no bechira. Even though we're human beings and we choose, in that specific case, we have not used our koach bechira. We acted upon instinct. The only time I infuse real bechira is when I say, I have to stop the instinct. There's something else. I'm not allowed to eat this food. I know this food is bad for me. I know it's giving me a stomachache, so it's not worth it, right? Oh.
It's in anything in life the same way. Like, I don't have to exercise, I have to push myself. If I don't,
Right. Instinctively, a person would rather lay on his couch, right? He doesn't want to exert himself and go jogging in the cold. He has to choose to do that. But the instinct says, do something that's for now, pleasure. Run away from pain. It's cold out. That's pain. Stay indoors, right? Person has to go to shiur at night, right? It's freezing cold. What does this instinct say?
too cold.
It's too cold. I just took a shower. I'm going to get cold.
Excuses.
Excuses. But
Thank
that's
God
the
for
instinct of man. And he has to go and use his bechira to say, no, I'm going to choose to do it. So it comes out, what we see from here, it's an amazing thing. There are many times in life that even though we possess the freedom of choice, we have this gift that animals don't have, we don't use it. Now, the difference is that an animal, because he only has instinct, he cannot say, I don't want this. He doesn't have the power to say, I'm going to choose not to eat this food today. That doesn't exist. He's 100% instinct-based, and he'll just eat it. There's no such thing as saying, I'm on a diet, it's not healthy. Doesn't have that. Now let me ask you a question, okay? If I go up to someone, and I start yelling at him in front of people and bashing him and saying really not nice things to him. And he reacts with anger. Did he choose to get angry?
The next thing.
Depends.
He doesn't have control.
Depends how
over
well
his
controlled he
emotions.
is.
A person who gets angry has no control over his emotions.
Okay,
Not
but
everyone.
the choice to get angry, was that bechira or instinct?
Instinct.
I think it's bechira.
Instinct.
Every time you get angry,
Instinct.
right? You sat
No,
down
how
and,
you react
and
to
you,
that,
and you
though.
said, I'm going to get angry now or not going to get angry
No,
now?
that's-
Or is there a instinctive reaction
The reaction is
when people embarrass us, when people cut us off, when people say something not nice, when people steal, when something goes wrong, right?
Yeah.
We have an instinct of how to react, right? So it comes out that a person who gets angry just based on the spur of the moment, is he actually using his freedom of choice?
No.
He's not. He's acting like an animal that just goes on instinct. Where does his freedom of choice come in?
The brain.
When he holds
The brain.
himself.
When he holds. When he starts saying, wait, yeah, I got angry, that was my gut reaction, that's how I acted right away. But at the end of the day, I have to cool down, I can't continue to be angry. Right? But it comes out that many, many times, we don't do that. Many times, right, unfortunately, unless a person is really working on himself, and we know how hard it is to change midot, a person is not really acting with his bechira. He's just going based on instinct. A person has to wake up early to pray, right? We have an instinct. People don't like to get up. I'm tired. It's cold. I'm lazy. Instinct says stay in bed. What do I have to choose? To get up. So if I didn't, what did I do? I didn't even use my bechira. I just acted upon instinct and I stayed in bed. I didn't choose to stay in bed. I have to choose to get up. Yeah.
So Rabbi, let's clarify this. I'm misunderstanding. So the fact that you got out of bed is bechira, or it's the thought process that you went through and you said it's better for me to go do shul?
That is bechira.
The thought process?
Yeah. When you get angry, there's no thought process. There's an instinctive reaction. The guy embarrassed me, I get angry at him.
So
Revenge. It's an instinct. A person does something bad to me. Instinctively, I want to defend myself. I want to get back at him. That's not a choice. I didn't ask. I didn't choose and express my freedom of will. I acted like an instinct. If you hit an animal, some animals run away. That's their instinct. They're scared, right? I was one time somewhere, there were these interesting birds. And I never saw these birds before. Usually, if you go up to a pigeon in New York, what's going to happen? Flies away, right? Kids love to try to catch it, they'll fly away, right? This was an exotic, beautiful bird. I'd never seen it before, right? And I started going up to it. I took a picture of it. And then as I got closer to it, it starts chirping, right? It doesn't run away from me. And it's chirping and chirping. And then I'm still like there. And then it starts, opening its wings. Like it's showing me, like it's trying to intimidate me, right? And then I was like, I'm 100 times bigger than this bird, right? It was a little bird. I'm like, well, it's not scared of people.
He should be scared.
He should be scared. And then I made it as if I was going to the bird, and it starts chirping harder and harder and harder, and it's not leaving. So then I filmed it, I taped it, and then I made believe like I was running towards it. I was thinking, what is this bird going to do? And then all of a sudden, the bird charges at me. It starts and it charged. I ran away, but it was a scary moment because usually you don't have that, right? It's a bird of prey. I don't even know which kind of bird it was, but it went boom, as if it was going to go straight into me to attack me, right?
Intimidating.
Did it choose it? That's an instinct. Pigeons have a different instinct,
Fight
right?
or flee. Fight or flight.
So
Fight or flight.
This is the name.
Yeah.
This is the name.
Psychology.
What kind
Yeah.
of bird is
Fight and fight.
Fight or flight. To run or to stand up and fight.
right, so those are
Psychological
instincts.
reaction.
Did it choose it, or was it ingrained
it
with
was
that?
ingrained in him because
Good.
you just said it's a
So
bird
we
of prey.
also have things that are ingrained. There are some people who are more humble. That's the way they were born. They're not confrontational, right? So they're like the pigeon. They'll run away every time there's confrontation. Runs away. Other people have a different instinct. They're born like people who, they'll go to war with you. You cut them off, they'll kill you. They didn't choose to do it. They're acting on instinct, right? Oh,
Raccoons don't run.
right. Raccoons aren't scared of people,
Yeah,
right? They're not.
look at you.
They'll go straight at you. Oh. So it comes out like this. Rabbi says an amazing thing. We have bechira. Animals don't. But says Rabbi, Ulam mitbonen na be'atzmenu. Let's think about ourselves. כלומר, באדם המבוגר. A grown-up individual, not a little baby. האם אנחנו מרבים להשתמש בכוח הבחירה? Let's think about our life. How often do we actually use bechira, and how often do we do things based on instinct? And it's not only getting angry or not.
Everything, right?
It's everything. He goes on to say you can have a tzaddik that does every mitzvah in the world, but it was because he was brought up like that. And his parents taught him, and he went to yeshiva, and he was ingrained with this type of mahalach chaim, hashkafat chaim, and then when he says, did he choose it? Or was he taught it?
Instinct.
It's instinct. It's the same thing because he was taught it. He becomes, in the Torah we have a concept of mitzvot anashim melumada, right? The guy could be doing all Taryag mitzvot, but it's robotic. He does it out of habit. Is that good? The Navi says that deserves a curse, a klala. The Navi is mekalel someone who does. What do you mean? The guy's doing mitzvot. Why should, just because he's used to doing it, so he doesn't think, why did he pray mincha today? Because he prayed yesterday. Why did he put on tefillin? Because what do you mean? I'm not going to put on tefillin? Autopilot. So it comes out that just like when we get angry and it's on autopilot, it's on instant mode, we didn't choose to. It takes a lot to find a person who's going to choose to say, no, I'm not going to get angry. No, I'm not going to react like that. That's hard. That's rare. He says it's rare to find someone who actually uses his bechira. It's the same thing with Judaism. Sometimes it depends on the person. But many times a person is ingrained with a certain hashkafa, he knows the halachot. He was taught that way from his teachers and his parents and whoever it is, and he does it not because he chooses, but rather because that's his second nature. He's just on autopilot. And now that brings us to an amazing pasuk. The pasuk says that a Kadosh Baruch Hu puts in front of us the good and the bad, the blessing and the curse. And what does he say to us?
Choose.
Ubacharta b'chaim. And it should really ring a bell. Hashem has to tell me to choose life. Why do I need that instruction? If a person in front of him has the opportunity to have good and bad.
Instinctively, he's going to think good.
A person has bracha and klala. At the end of the day, I don't need to tell him to choose good. Why does the Torah say ubacharta b'chaim? The answer is that in order to have bad, we don't have to choose. To stay in bed and not to pray, do I have to choose to stay in bed or I just act upon my instinct? Instinct. To get angry and to do bad things to other people, do I have to choose it or do I act on instinct? To steal, I have to choose to steal or my instinct tells me, listen, if I can get away with it, maybe I could do it, right? We don't realize this. We think that stealing is very far from us, but the Gemara brings down, the Ramchal talks about this in chapter 11 of Mesilat Yesharim. When he talks about Nikiyut, he brings down the Gemara that there are averot, nafsho shel adam mechamdetan. There are certain averot that we're not drawn to. A person, you tell him to eat a spider, eat shkatzim, it's gross. We're not drawn to it. But if the Gemara says, one of the mitzvot, one of the averot that a person is drawn to is gezer, theft. And the Ramchal says, it doesn't mean that most people are going to go and pickpocket people. It doesn't mean most people will go rob a bank. But he says that when they have a chance and they won't get caught, you ever heard the line, business is business? What does that line mean?
That means you can go and kill and you're going to do business.
Oh, what does it mean? It means that there is a Torah, there is a Shulchan Aruch, but at the end of the day, if I can get away with it and I won't get caught, what does my instinct tell me? Do it, and I have to cover it up. So we're not so far from Gezer. There's an instinct to take. So at the end of the day, when the Torah says, Ubacharta b'chaim, it's telling us that's the only time you actually choose. To choose death, spiritually, you don't have to choose. You just have to act on your instinct. To eat non-kosher, it's instinct. To do all these mitzvot, all these averot, it's all instinct. The only time I exercise my bechira is when I choose life. And this is something we really have to think about. We have to go into our day. And we have to think about how many times do I actually choose? A person who goes to a clothing store, he has to pick a suit. Is he choosing, or his instinct just tells him, this is going to make me feel better if I wear this color, if I wear this style, this is better. That's not choice. That's the same thing as the dog choosing food. We have an instinct. When I wake up in the morning, right, and I choose what I'm going to wear that day, that's what the Torah calls bechira. That's this ma'ala that was given to man and not to any other creature. That's not what the Torah calls bechira. That ubacharta b'chaim is what the Torah calls bechira. When I choose good and I have to say no to bad, that's when I express bechira. How much of our day are we actually choosing? Rabbi says it's rare to find someone who actually uses his koach bechira. Most of our day, it's either on autopilot, it's either just gut reactions, it's either just the way we were raised, that's the way we continue. A person just keeps the ball rolling in life. How many times did we stop and say, you know what? No. I'm used to talking during tefillah. To continue talking is not even to choose, it's just to continue doing what you did yesterday. To choose means I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to make a conscious effort and use my sechel to say, this is bad, I'm refraining from it. It could be diets. Most people who eat unhealthy food, they're not choosing to eat it. They're just acting on instinct. The 1 in a million who actually says no to it is choosing. The guy who wants to eat chazir and he doesn't do it, and that's what Chazal tell us. A person shouldn't say, chazir is gross. What should he say? I would love to eat it. But why am I not eating it? Because I choose. Because what happens if you just say it's gross? Are you choosing not to eat it, or your instinct tells you not to eat it? Your instinct. So why should you get rewarded for that? God rewards an animal for eating? No, that's the way He created him. But when we come and say, I want to, but I'm going to hold back, that's exercising our amazing koach bechira. So a person really has to delve into his day from the second he wakes up. What he has for breakfast, usually not even choosing. The fact that he brushes his teeth, he's not choosing. What he wears, he's not choosing. How much of our day are we actually using this amazing gift of bechira? How many times are we putting the brakes on something we instinctively wanted to do? And it's amazing because we have this gift and we don't utilize it. We have an amazing weapon. The animal can't say no. He can't give it up. He can't change his initial reaction. That's the way he'll live his whole life. Man has that power to say, yes, I should have got angry. I'm going to hold back. Maybe I should have got angry for 10 minutes. I'm going to do it for 7 minutes. That's bechira. We have to use this amazing koach of bechira. And once we realize that we don't use it, it makes us aware. And that's what I said in the beginning. It's ABCs. You ask every person, do you have freedom of choice? Everyone will say, of course I do. But it doesn't mean we actually use it. It's something that's rarely used. Hashem should help us. And we should have CHIZZUK and infusing thought into everything we do. We say Modeh Ani, don't do it because you said it yesterday. Think about it and do it because you choose to. When we make Birkat HaMazon now, you could either do it because you did it yesterday, or you could do it because I'm choosing to do Birkat HaMazon. We have to infuse thought, we have to infuse regesh and kavanah, and that's what really the Torah calls Ubacharta B'chaim.